and welcome back to the podcast. So this episode is all around money mindset. Now, the reason we wanted to bring this as a separate topic is we touch on money from time to time, and I think that it's really important to understand like why we do what we do, why we charge what we charge, and how to really stop letting money rule your life, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a big one for me because I've got personal experience. Like everybody's got a story and everybody's got a background. My story has obviously come from like below working class people. I never seen any of my family working a day in their life when I was growing up. Nobody worked in my family. We're all scrounging off job seekers or whatever you want to call it, right? Which is fine. If you're on job seekers, you're probably not listening to this anyway. So I always was brought up in poor environment. Like the thing in my head I always remember is the guy upstairs called George. We stayed in Postle Park, and he was one of my best mates' dads, and he had a good job in the railway, so he made good money. Every Monday I would go up to him with 20 quid from my gran because he would give her 20 quid every week to see her through the week. So that's what I'm talking about when I say I come from the poorest money mindset. I remember as an 89-year-old taking 20 quid up to George and saying, my granny want to give you this back, and then George would gear it again, and that cycle would repeat. That's how poor we were. So when I started entering into the PT space and all that, I was like undercharging, definitely. Like I remember some clients at the beginning, because I kind of knew them, but I was charging 20 quid an hour. You weren't even allowed to do that in Pure Gym. But in my head, I'm like, no way they're going to pay me 35 quid. I've done a 6-week course. I didn't even know how to use the tricep push down me, and that's how bad it was. I had no idea what I was doing. This guy wanted to give me money. There was a guy who I had a client for years, 3 sessions a week, paying me like 400 quid because I never knew him. So he was just like, what's the prices? And I just told him. And I kept thinking, why does this guy want to train me? I don't know what I'm doing. And I felt like I was robbing him of money because my mindset from the past was no money, never seen money. Hence why the Vegas story and one of the other podcasts that we've done in the last few weeks. So yeah, just as a personal wee story for people to kind of relate. Some people might not relate to that because they come from lack of better backgrounds or whatever, but that's one of the places it stems from. And you might come from a richer family who don't like spending a lot of money either, and they'll moan at you for spending money. They'll everything you say and try and buy, but why are you spending money on that? So it could work both ways.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that once you get into the PTing world, you know, we've touched on it before, that you will naturally just look at what other people charge and charge similar or a little bit less. Like that's usually what happens. Probably, I mean, I don't want to say everyone, but I'd say a very, very high percentage of people don't charge over what the average is. You know, no one's going to go into a new gym and say, right, I am charging this, unless you've got experience, you know. But I think when it comes to it, it's like one of the biggest things that we always say to people as well is like PTs often just charge based on like packages and like blocks, and everything's all the features. There's no real focus on benefits or outcome.
Yep.
And that's what holds them back, because like how can you sell something when you just sell the features? You know, if you want to buy like that TV there, like you're not going to say it's black, it's got a silver bit at the bottom, it says Samsung, it says,
nobody's buying it for that.
It's 3 centimeters long. It's, you know, you want to know like
it's the pixels,
what it does for you. Yeah.
Well, I don't even know anything about tellies.
The size more maybe, like the size.
Size matters in tellies.
Yeah. And then, and obviously just like how it's going to benefit you, right? Because if you're interested in football and stuff, you want to know that it's got the 4K, blah, 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 super sonic nonsense.
We know fucking about tellies.
I don't know anything about it. But like, it's the same idea, right? You want to talk about the experience.
Yep.
When you focus on a holiday, you know, they don't sell you the journey to get there, they sell you the destination. So it's the same idea with when you're selling your product and service as a trainer or a gym owner. Like, what is the outcome that people are getting here?
Yeah.
What's your promise? What are you actually trying to get people to?
Yeah. Imagine in the brochure for like a trip to Florida, all it says is like, enjoy your 12-hour flight across the Atlantic. You were sitting there squashed in, fucking hating it, no enjoying the food.
Soggy food.
Can't hear right because of the engine of the plane. Well, you're going to love it.
You're going to have to get there 2 hours early. You're going to have to wait 2 hours
check
after.
in. They fucking leave all that shit out.
That's the features. And that's essentially what you guys are doing every single day. So when you put your post up and you say 2 new spaces available, you'll get 2 sessions a week. You'll get nutritional help.
Yep.
You'll be in a WhatsApp group. You'll get access to my app.
What does it mean?
What value is that going to bring to anyone? So it's all about me. So why don't you focus on what value you can bring to someone else? And I'll touch on a story I've told before as well, is when we were looking at getting great guests on our fitness podcast in the past, like I reached out to loads of people just via DMs, And every single person I spoke to, I started framing it as like, what can I bring value for them? Not how does this bring value to me? So it was always about them. So I would talk about, well, we've got X amount of listeners. It'll help with this. I'm also going to talk about your X, Y, and Z on your website and, you know, offer the freebie to everyone as well. So there was lots of value there. And then we got some amazing guests on the podcast purely because of that. So it's the same idea. If you focus on what helps them, people are going to be interested.
Yeah.
But if you talk about everything about you and features and like yourself, no wonder people switch off.
And that affects your ability to want to charge the right price as well, because it does connect to money mindset. Because if you don't know what you're selling and the benefits of it, that's why it's part of the money mindset.
That's why you don't believe in
charging it. It reminds me of a story actually when I was hiring for Pure Gym Dunfermline. I was a manager and I was in Edinburgh. And remember Lauren? Nice wee lassie. So she came here. I was interviewing her and I said, out of curiosity, how much would you charge for like PT session? And she's like, well, the going rate about Dunfermline's like $12.50. I was like, per hour? She's like, yeah, I need to pay more than that. And I was like, okay, but Pure Gym is minimum 25 quid. She's like, I don't think anybody will like buy for that. And again, that was her. Not only pure money mindset, but looking out and saying, the people that I know in Dunfermline are only charging £12.50 an hour. And what does that say about other mindsets? Just like with the boot camp, mate, when we started that as well, I'll tell the story again because it's a good story. £20 for 20 days just to get curiosity and interest. People will happily give you 20 quid to come and try the boot camp for 20 days, which is like 6 sessions or whatever. And then one of the first ladies, I'm still not tired of telling this story, mate, I like it.
No, it's a good story.
Beverly came up at the end of the very first session, right outside the Petrevia Centre where we'd done the stuff, and she said, how much is the full membership after this? And we said 80 quid a month. And she's like, nobody will pay that in Dunfermline. Nobody's going to pay that. I've come back from Spain where I did these big boot camps in Marbella or all this stuff. I'm like, what's that got to do with us? Do you know what I mean? So obviously at the time you were less experienced than me in terms of like all that money shit and stuff like that and dealing with clients or whatever. So I could tell your ass collapsed a wee bit and mine's semi-collapsed, but I try to keep it together because I'm like, maybe she's right. I don't know anything about Dunfermline, man. I work in a fucking Pure Gym. I'm a Pure Gym manager. I fucking, do you know what I mean? So I was like, shit, maybe she's right, but like, Josh, let's just stick to this, man. We're creating something way bigger than this and people will pay for it. Yeah. So I'm glad we made that choice.
And she didn't understand our features and benefits at that time either.
Nah, we didn't.
She wasn't a good fit for that and we didn't make it clear. So that's again something that we've learned and you know, going back to what we spoke about before with failures and stuff, like if it wasn't for these quote unquote failures or upsets or obstacles, like we wouldn't have learned and grown and known what we now know.
Yep.
So all these things are lessons, you know, and it just depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, when it comes to the money mindset, a lot of it is your confidence and your self-belief and knowing your product. You know, when you can deliver on a result and a promise that you have, confidence is going to grow. Of course it's going to grow. Self-belief's going to grow, which then the value grows. Now, one important thing that I've always realized as well is value and price are very, very similar. You know, if we were going to, let's say, charge for something, like let's say charge for listeners for this podcast, you know, some people would switch off, but the people that paid for it would be much more invested and they would take more notes and they would ask us more questions. They would access different parts of it because they've got skin in the game, they're more invested, they're more committed. So the more you charge for something, yes, it might turn people off, but if you've got a big promise there and you can back that up with social proof and, you know, money back guarantees, all these things remove the risk, then people are going to be much more committed, much more invested. You're going to attract better quality clients and people are going to see you as the best. If you just try and fit in again or charge less, people don't think you're as good. Yeah. And that shows because that's like, I made this analogy on a phone call with someone the other week, signing them up for the gym. And at the end of it, they were chatting about, she said something like, oh, it's more expensive than I thought it was going to be. And I said, I understand it's a big investment, 100%. But let me frame it to you this way, right? Have you had any work done in your house just in the last like couple of years? She was like, oh yeah, I had my bathroom done. I said, see, when you got your bathroom done, did you look at the cheap people to do it really quickly, or did you want to get someone that could do it properly and give you the bathroom that you wanted? And she said, oh, the bathroom that I wanted. And I said, we're like that in the fitness industry. So I was basically talking about like, look, you can have all the hassle of going for the cheap option of getting the bathroom done by like a cheap person that's not going to do it properly. They take ages, they take loads of gaps, and you probably need to get it done again. and again and again and again until you get the person that can do it properly. It's like the same with the fad diets that you've done over the years and X, Y, and Z that you were telling me about. You know, you've tried all these quick fix options with no real support. We are the go-to people for getting you that result, and we've got a money back guarantee that we're so confident that if we fail on that we'll give you your money back. And then she signed up, and she'd gone from literally having no real idea and kind of not really understanding it, but I put it in a perspective that she understood, and then it all clicked and it all made sense. And she was like, you're right. And I said, you could go another year doing all those same things to save you a bit of money and stuff. But ultimately, eventually you're going to have to get the professionals involved to really speed up this process.
But it just shows you how much people lack the value in themselves. She's willing to pay 2, 3, 4 grand for a toilet that you probably spend about 30 minutes a day max, probably not even that. It's a bit long, maybe showering and all that.
Yeah.
But you're walking about in this body, the fucking thing that keeps you going, mate, till birth, till death. You're not willing to spend 175 quid on yourself a month.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I know.
But again, that's our job as mentors, and our job as running a gym, to relay that to people and try and let them understand the message, because they've probably spent years not really valuing themselves, valuing the kitchen, valuing the Range Rover, valuing all that stuff. Mm-hmm. When it's just a wee eye on there, you're not saying you should value yourself, you just put it across in a way like the kitchen idea or the bathroom idea, which is perfect, because they sit and be like, fuck, this guy's right.
Makes sense. And it's always like, it's always my fault. Like if they need to speak to, well, not necessarily speak to someone, because it's, you want to run things by your partner and stuff like that. But if they make an objection to something that, like, anything to do, have a think about it. That's on me. Yeah. Like, I've not done a good enough job articulating how this is going to change your life, because you've told me that you need this. Now we've got this that can get you that. So there's something missing between here to here. Otherwise, you would have signed up. So her fear is below my, maybe, let's say, certainty, confidence. Yeah. You're never going to make sales if their fear goes above you. So if your fear, their fear is here and your certainty is there, then you've not made the sale. When you can get your confidence and certainty here, remove the risk, bring the pressure down, bring the time frame down, bring all these things down, that's when they're going to want that. I mean, what do you think, like, plastic surgeons and people that do tummy tucks and that, what do you think their market is? It's always like,
quick fix.
Are you tired of spending hours in the gym and never getting the results? Are you tired of buying multiple memberships and never seeing the results you've always wanted? Come to us, and in 2 days, you'll have the body you've always wanted.
It's not cheap.
And it's not cheap. They can charge whatever they want. Why is it 5-10 grand? Because they're in a complete and utter league of their own. So you need to, nobody's going to sign up to your personal training service if you say, come with us, 12 months time, you're going to feel and look amazing. No. So you need to kind of like be smart with the wording to bring people on, educate them, and then work it from there, change the mindset. What
about coaches' money mindset issues? Because we've obviously dealt with many phone calls. Some people joined on Rival Decks, some people didn't. How many times have you kind of heard, oh, that's a lot of money? Or do you think that's a failure on our part then?
So I think, on that one, I always say to people, like, it depends who you ask, right? If you think it's a lot of money, you're maybe not the type of person that would buy your own program. And that's a problem, because you don't see the value in what you do yet. Coaching. If you speak to your partner or your parent or a friend and you ask them their opinion on, is this priced right? Again, they're probably not the demographic you're trying to sell to anyway. Yep. So you're always fighting an uphill battle if you don't know who you're helping. Yeah. Like, if you just help everyone, then that's just impossible. Like, I don't know how to help you if you can't, like, have a purpose with what you're doing, because you can't sell something you don't believe in.
It's something I seen years ago and it stuck in my head, because PTs are always going on about how everybody needs a PT, everybody needs help getting in shape, and they do in some way, but they don't have a coach for the business. Mm-hmm. So it means, like, by default, they don't believe in coaching. Yeah. Otherwise, it's the same as saying, I can help you lose X amount of weight in X amount of days, but they don't believe in, I can help you make X amount of money or grow your business in X amount of days. They don't believe in coaching. That's what it tells me by default. If you don't have a coach, we've had a coach since day one, mate. When have we not had a business mentor of our own? Yeah. And the business mentors who coach us, they've got business mentors are way above them as well. And it works up. These guys are at the top of the chain. And do you think they've got money mindset issues, these guys? Yeah. Charging $2,000 a month.
Yeah, I know.
$2,000 a month. They've not got money mindset issues. They're highly confident in what they're delivering to coaches. And there's just no getting around that, mate. Like, that's how it works. But coaches who don't have a coach don't believe in coaching. Yeah. That's it. You can't give me an argument back to that.
Nah, you can't.
There's not one.
Yeah. And again, you know, because I think I'm at the point where you got to take full responsibility for everything we do. And it's like, you know, if a coach, again, can't see the value in what we do, then that's on us. You know, if they're not willing to make the investment, you know, there's maybe gaps missing in our business. And we've experienced that in the past when starting out, like, because we've maybe not had complete and utter clarity on Unrivaled X right at the beginning, like, it's been harder to sign people up, you know? And one of the worst things you can do, and, you know, we've been there in the past with any kind of sales thing, is like, if you get into the role of convincing someone, that's the wrong thing to do. You shouldn't be doing that. You should almost be kind of interviewing people and kind of like getting them in a point where, you know, they want to work with you. You know, they're the people that applied to work with you. They're the ones that reached out. Okay, cool. Interview. Sit, like, metaphorically sit next to them and chat them through and see if they're a good fit.
Yep.
Because that's something people want to be a part of. If they can see that you're taking time to, you know, you don't just bring on anyone. Like, we bring on people, and I always say this on sales calls as well, and when I chat to people, you know, number one, we think we can help, and number two, we want to work with. And then, you know, there could be other aspects of it as well, but this is why it's so important to have a structure when you're speaking to people. And then once you make the sales, the money mindset starts to improve. And then you can up the pricing and you can go from there.
Again, it's all fear, isn't it? It's all fear related. Yeah. If you do have a money mindset problem and some of this stuff's relatable to you, you're like, damn, I've not put my prices up because I'm scared. It's a fear that clients will leave, and then you've got less money, and then you'll be poor, you won't be able to afford your rent, you won't be able to pay your mortgage, you won't be able to have food. But that's not like how you should live life. You should try and flip that on its head and use that as a motivation to like change who you are.
Turn it around.
Change that mindset. I went through that mindset for 26 years, 27 years. Obviously, as a baby, I'm not sitting there going, I've got men. You know what I mean? No. Since birth, all that subconscious stuff's been put in me. I'm sitting around my grandparents. I was too embarrassed to let my mates into my house because it was so dirty and smelly. So I'd be like, my mates, like, I'll be doing in 2 minutes. And I'd run up the stair. Whereas all my other mates, I was allowed to come in their house and like sit about. But I was like, until one of them said, how come I'm never allowed in your house? And I think I was just like, oh, my granny's not well and all that. Like, there's something wrong with her. But again, these are all the things through life that can make your mindset totally different. You're getting shaped at a young age, and the things that you do and don't do and you see around you.
All these things that you're going through just now as a coach, as a entrepreneur, business owner, like, you know, as Chris says, they're shaping you. You know, these things are happening for you, not to you. It depends on what side of the coin you look. If you look for the victim mentality side, you know, you'll think everything's doom and gloom.
Yep.
If you look on the kind of other side that you know, like what we've done all along, you'll start to create the kind of life and business that you've always wanted through time. So if you can relate to that and you can, you know, hear our story and feel like, do you know what? Because we did a podcast the other week there on like finding the business mentor for you. And I think that the good thing about business mentoring is it's kind of like, you know, everyone's got their own shop window. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't just go into every shop and like fucking have a look around. Like, you kind of just walk by and look in and see like if that's what you're looking for. And it's the same with what we're doing. You know, if you can relate to our stories and you can relate to what we're talking about, and you feel like, do you know what? A lot of the things these guys are saying, like they're Scottish, they're, you know, in areas like me, or they're in the UK, like they live lives like I want to live, then reach out to us. You know, we are good role models, and we believe that we can help people like you to take things to the next level. Yep. So rather than just sit there and kind of struggle about it or waste money on someone that's not a good fit for you, you know, just reach out and we'll chat.
And we've got a training called Money Mindset Issue that I think we could give anybody who's listening to this. If they just drop us a DM, we'll send you it for free, and it will definitely help change the game for you. Yeah,
it's an old one, but gold. It's
old and gold.
Yeah, one of the first ones I think we made, and it's just something that's always stuck with us, and we've always kind of shown people back to it because it definitely helps things out. So yeah, reach out if you want that. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the podcast, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening.
Cheers.